This is a good spot, Charean, to hear from Ben Johnson, who spoke to reporters after this stuff hit the fan yesterday. Here he is on Caleb Williams and Caleb Williams' pride in being a member of the Bears, even though a year ago he didn't really want to be.
I see this as what a great opportunity we have to do something that really has never been done. There hasn't been a 4,000-yard passer here in this franchise, and I think Caleb's going to be the first one, and one of many years, many seasons to come where he's able to accomplish that feat. So I see a chance for greatness here for him. He's been communicated that way, and he feels the same way. I don't know what's gone on prior to him joining the organization, but he is very proud to be a Chicago Bear. That's what our conversations have included, and he's really excited to get to work right now and be the best version of himself for 2025.
And look, it's understandable he would have a different attitude now that they've hired Ben Johnson. And in hindsight, it makes the fact that Ben Johnson was always going to be the guy the Bears hired even more obvious. They needed someone to get Caleb Williams on board. And I have faith in Ben Johnson, even though there is a proven history of great coordinators flaming out as head coaches multiple times, e.g. Norv Turner. But you can be a great coordinator and a great coach, but Ben Johnson is rowing the boat upstream potentially in Chicago. And even though we have praised the Bears for changing, let's see. The proof will be in the standings. How many do they win? How many do they lose? Because last year was a 5-12 disaster. They need to be at least on the right side of 500 this year to get people to believe that things have changed. Otherwise, the perception will be it's going to take a lot of work and effort for Ben Johnson to turn that team around.
This is what I don't understand, Mike. And again, I guess it's just dysfunctional teams do dysfunctional things. But these teams keep their coach who's on the verge of being gone, and then they use the first overall pick or a high pick on a quarterback, and then it doesn't work out that year because guess what? You're playing a rookie quarterback, so you're probably not going to do great because you were bad the previous year, and then you're putting a rookie quarterback into that mix. But the Panthers did it to Bryce, and they changed coaches after 1 year. And then the Bears did it to Caleb Williams. And the Jaguars did it to Trevor Lawrence. And you go on and on and on. So you either, to me, and the Jaguars is a little bit different situation, but to me, when that coach is on the verge of being fired, and you have that, you're weighing that, and you have the number 1 overall pick, or you have a high pick, go ahead and change the coach or commit to that coach long term. Because the development of a young quarterback in his rookie season is vital. And when they don't get that, and then second season they change offensive coordinators, play callers, head coach, playbook, everything else, to me it's setting that quarterback back, however far it sets them back, and doesn't give them as good of chance to succeed as they possibly could have. And I don't know, and the Giants now have done it with Jackson Dart. And they're trying to save their jobs. With Jackson Dart, it's probably going to start for the Giants at some point, and chances are next year he's going to have a new offensive coordinator, new head coach, a new playbook, all those things that he's going to have to relearn. And guess what? He just spent this year doing what? I mean, it's unfortunate for these quarterbacks. And I understand they're going to go to bad teams because that's why they're bad. But a lot of times, Mike, they just don't get a fair shot.
Hey, that's why I was saying before the draft, John Mara, the co-owner of the Giants, should come out and make it clear that he's committed to Joe Schoen as GM and Brian Daboll as head coach indefinitely, that we're going to turn this around, and you can't have the sort of Damocles hovering over the head of the coach and the GM at a time when you're trying to break in a new quarterback. Because then you end up on this bizarre carousel where the quarterback has to learn a new system, has to get acquainted with a new coach who may not want that quarterback. He may not have been a Jackson Dart guy. And they're never going to say when they're trying to get the job that they've been working for their whole life, NFL head coach, they're not going to say, yeah, I really want your job, but, the first thing I'd do is get rid of your quarterback like Josh McDaniels did when he got the Broncos job and got rid of Jay Cutler. I think it's harder to get the job if you go in there and say, I don't want your franchise quarterback. Same thing could happen in Tennessee with Cam Ward. This is one of the benefits of the Titans being so overlooked and generally perceived as irrelevant. Compelling stories get overlooked as well. Chad Brinker's basically seized power there in a modern-day palace coup, and there's every reason to think that he and GM Mike Borgonzi are going to want their own coach. So if they stink this year, it could be Brian Callahan overboard and a new coach for Cam Ward. What if the new coach isn't a Cam Ward guy? And even if the new coach is a Cam Ward guy, it's going to set back Cam Ward's overall development. That's why when you are an elite quarterback prospect, especially quarterback, because that's the most critical position as it relates to what is there around you, to develop you, to help you, to have continuity and consistency and layer year 1 to year 2 to year 3 and so on. I fully support guys like that pushing back against the system, and Caleb Williams' dad did. And I give his dad a ton of credit for at least exploring all possibilities. He did it in 2 ways. One, before the draft. What can we do to avoid this process? What can we do? Looked into, according to the Seth Wickersham book, going to the UFL for a year and then coming to the NFL as an undrafted free agent. That doesn't work because if you get drafted, the team holds your rights until the next draft. And if you get drafted again, they hold your rights until the next year. You'd have to sit out 2 years of the NFL to enter as an undrafted free agent, and then you'd be subject to the pool of wages available to undrafted free agents, which means you won't make much. And then you got 3 years before you're a restricted free agent, and then you got 4 years before you're unrestricted, and then you still got to deal with the franchise tag. So it's a long road that doesn't pay nearly as much as being the number 1 overall pick. But they at least explored it. And they also explored, and remember when we had reported that Carl Williams was telling agents that Caleb wants equity in the team that drafts him. And the reaction was, well, that's ridiculous. That's fake. That's impossible. That doesn't happen. We know that. But it just shows you that Carl Williams was being as creative as he could be about ways to get his son the best possible situation. And any father or mother would want to do that for their child. And I credit Carl Williams, even on the back end, Charean, the creative tax ideas and strategies he was pitching to the Bears, because Carl basically represents Caleb. Caleb doesn't have a traditional agent. Set this up as an LLC. Pay him as an LLC. Try to avoid taxes. Bears wouldn't do it. Treat the pay as a forgivable loan, so he doesn't have to pay taxes until the loan is forgiven at some point down the road. Tried that. They wouldn't do it. But it just shows you that Carl Williams was as creative, as aggressive, and as motivated as any father has ever been to help his son push back against a system that is rigged against the players. Oh, they make millions. Oh, boo-hoo for them. It still can be rigged against them. 2 things can be true. 1, the players can be paid handsomely, more than they'd make in any other industry at their age, unless they were musicians or actors, and highly successful ones. It still can be rigged against them. They still can be deprived of their fair share because it's a multi-billion-dollar business that gets bigger all the time. So, oh, what a great thing. They're paying him $35 million over 4 years. Well, it's not a great thing if really he's worth 70. I mean, look at Patrick Mahomes. What's he worth to the NFL? It sure as hell ain't $45 million a year or whatever they've done to give him more cash flow. He's worth $100 million or more per year to the National Football League. So the system is rigged against the players in many ways. And the fans don't like it when we talk about it because they don't like us disrupting things. They just want to watch football games in peace. but the players get screwed, and this is a prime example. This Caleb Williams, I think, is the perfect on the way in, you have no options. You have no choice. You must submit, and you better not complain, because if you complain, we're going to make sure everybody hates you. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.